Hi, this is Guy Odisha from Bhakti Brain Health Clinic. Thank you for joining me. What I wanted to present to you is an interesting case of a stress response in the midst of a heart rate variability resonant frequency determination. So this is where we look for the optimal breathing rate for the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system to come into balance. This person came into the clinic, presented 40-year-old, healthy, athletic, but having a difficult time staying asleep at night. Falls asleep fine, sleeps till about 4 in the morning, wakes up, sometimes can get back to sleep, sometimes cannot get back to sleep, has tried any number of interventions to change this pattern, but has been unsuccessful across all of them. So I suggested we take a look at the parasympathetic nervous system and just see how it's doing. And the first part of this video you're going to see is a few minutes of the resonant frequency determination. And I'll just walk you through some of the metrics on the screen. But one of the things that tipped me off that maybe something was up, the resonant frequency determination is about 25 minutes long. It takes people through different breath rates, and that's usually mildly stressing. And so we see some wobble in the nervous system as it's being asked to switch from slower to faster paces of breathing. And this person was pretty much perfect all the way through. So I call this the performer. Right? That person who just has the ability in most situations to perform perfectly for that circumstance. So in this case, they performed perfectly for their resonant frequency determination. And that, again, made me suspicious. So I asked them if they'd be open to do a little additional stress test. So a few minutes in, you're going to see that the screen changes, and that's where we went from the resonant frequency when we finished that into another HRV screen with all the same metrics, but it'll look a little different. And the stressor that I asked them to evoke was just a memory of the last time that they woke up at night. So not a traumatic memory, nothing particularly stressful, just to bring back the memory and the feeling that came along with the last time they woke up at 4 in the morning and wasn't able to get back to sleep. So that was the stressor. And you're going to see in the HRV readings when that moment happens. You'll also notice, and I'll point out, that there is a stress response taking place just knowing that they're going to be asked to bring up a memory. So they know that it's coming, but they were asked not to go into it until I gave them the cue. And then we'll see the moment they kind of go into the memory, how their sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system loses the plot. So I will start the video and then talk you through a few of the metrics. Okay, so here you'll see that's the breath pacer right now. They're breathing at 5 breaths per minute. Over here, the spectral display, we're getting a nice spectral reading in around 0.6, which is great. Coherence, you'll see that they're running at about 100%. So that's what we see right here, where the respiratory rate and the heart rate variability are very much in line with one another. They're actually heart rate variability is doing pretty good, running around 15. Their skin conductance here, just a little under 1, which is great. Blood volume pulse up around 50, so they've got good peripheral blood flow. And here, peripheral temperature at about 93 degrees, which is, again, great. So all of this is moving along nicely. We notice that their heart rate is fairly low. They're moving between a range of 60 and 75 beats per minute. So the system is doing well. Now you see we'll switch over to do this additional stress test. One of the first things you'll notice, their temperature is dropping. So a sign of stress. Skin conductivity has gone up, another sign of stress. Sweat in the skin becoming more conductive. The blood volume pulse has dropped off from 50 to 25. So again, we're seeing constriction in the capillaries. We'll notice here coherence is down. They're running, they're still at a pretty good number. We're going to see that drop even more. Heart rate variability is doing okay, but starting to fall. So all of their metrics are starting to show that there is a subtle stress in the system. Now, one of the things, if we were only looking at coherence, we might think this person is still doing okay, but having temperature and skin conductivity and blood volume pulse gives us an indication that this system is under distress. So coming up here shortly, you're going to start to notice this green trace, which is their respiration, and this red trace, which is their heart rate variability, are going to start to diverge quite extremely. And that is the moment at which I ask them to evoke the memory of the last time they were not able to sleep at night. And we see that happening right now. And we notice they fall off their breathing rhythm, their heart rate variability narrows, the coherence between inhalation and exhalation has dropped away. There's almost no coherence between the two, which means the parasympathetic and the sympathetic and parasympathetic are not having a strong relationship to the cardiac system right now. And so the autonomics are in distress. And temperature falling here, we see kind of hitting a peak in skin conductivity. Again, stress response, a slight sweating. So a very interesting case of the person who is able to maintain good sympathetic, parasympathetic, or autonomic nervous system balance through a mild stress test. But then when asked to bring to mind a mild stressor, right, a disrupted night of sleep, that the autonomic nervous system just loses the plot and goes into a stress response.